Once upon a time, there was a young woman named Valerie. Valerie wanted to improve her English skills so she could move to the United States of America and have a better life. Valerie's dream was to move to America and get a good-paying job and help her family back home. Her dream came true when she applied and won the green card lottery and moved to the United States for a better life. Surprisingly, Valerie's new life in America did not turn out as she had expected. She worked a few low-paying jobs in order to pay the bills and send money back home. She got a job working at a pizza place, but it didn't pay enough to meet her budget. After working several months, she made just enough money to pay her rent and buy food for a while. Then one day, Valerie was hired to work at a local fast food restaurant. When she started her first shift, she met a handsome young man named Paul. Paul was the manager of the restaurant where Valerie worked. Valerie and Paul hit it off immediately and started dating. Paul was the first man Valerie had ever been with, and after they started dating, she thought her dreams of moving to America and finding a good job would come true. But it wasn't meant to be. Valerie realized Paul didn't want to have a child. Valerie knew that she wanted a child more than anything in the world. She had always dreamed of having a family, especially a daughter. After Valerie finished telling Paul that she wanted a baby, Paul said he didn't want to have a child with her. Valerie was devastated and asked why. Paul responded by saying, "Because I am not ready to settle down and be a father." Paul was right. He wasn't ready to take care of another person. Valerie felt hurt and confused. She couldn't understand why Paul wouldn't be ready to be a father. Paul told her that he didn't want to take on the responsibility of having a child with her, and that he wanted to enjoy his life. At first, Valerie didn't believe Paul. After all, he was the manager of the restaurant where she worked. Why would he lie? As time went on, however, she started to realize that Paul was telling her the truth. He wasn't ready to be a father because he was young and didn't want to be responsible for another person. Valerie was heartbroken and decided to go back home to Romania. The night before she was leaving, Valerie had a dream. In her dream, she was in a beautiful place with a lot of people who were happy with their lives. There were children everywhere, and it was a place where there was hope for everyone. When Valerie woke up from her dream, she had no idea what the dream meant, but she knew she needed to stay in the United States and make a better life for herself. As Paul was leaving Valerie's apartment, he told her that he was sorry, and that he wished he could change things. Valerie was heartbroken when Paul left, but she told herself that she still had a chance with him. She thought if he changed his mind and decided to be a father, she would wait for him. A few weeks went by, and Paul never came back. Valerie tried to reach out to Paul a couple of times, but Paul never called or returned her calls. Valerie was crushed. She cried every day and couldn't get over the fact that Paul didn't want a child with her. After Valerie's dream in her apartment, she knew she needed to stay in the United States. Valerie got a job at a local hospital where she worked as a receptionist. After several months of working there, she started going to school at night to get a certificate as a nurse. Valerie worked hard and studied every day. The hardest part of being a student was always paying for books and tuition. But she loved nursing so much that she made sure she had enough money to pay for her tuition. Valerie graduated from nursing school and started working at the same hospital. Valerie got a promotion and became lead RN. Now Valerie was working at the same hospital where she had worked as a receptionist, and she was making more money than she ever had before. Valerie was happy and grateful. She now had the chance to make a good life for herself in the United States. Valerie was very good at her nursing job. Her patients were happy with her, and the doctors gave her many compliments on her doing a good job. Valerie enjoyed going to work, especially at the end of her shift when she would see her patients smile and laugh. Sometimes, Valerie would visit them in the hospital and make sure they were okay. Valerie did everything that she could to be happy. She tried to make her life as good as possible. Raoul, the chief surgeon at her hospital, learned from his patients that Valerie was a knowledgeable and caring nurse. He went to see her and fell in love as soon as he saw her. Raoul thought that Valerie was the most beautiful woman he ever saw. Raoul was in love with Valerie, yet they haven't even spoken yet. Raoul didn't know how to get past his fear of speaking to Valerie because he was afraid she wouldn't like him. He decided to tell her about his feelings. He told her that he loved her. When Valerie heard that, she couldn't believe that Raoul loved her. She was shocked that he would want to marry her even though he didn't know her. Raoul explained to Valerie that he wanted to marry her because he loved her and wanted to spend the rest of his life with her. Valerie was touched and excited by Raoul's proposal. Raoul told her that she was the woman he was looking for all along. Valerie was overjoyed to hear that, and they started planning their wedding. It took them several months to plan a wedding, and it was going to be a beautiful ceremony. When the day of the wedding came, Valerie had butterflies in her stomach. She was happy to see Raoul, but she was nervous about meeting her parents-in-law. They were going to be Valerie's guests at the wedding. Raúl's parents were from Mexico, and Valery was excited to meet them. Valery looked forward to wearing her new wedding dress. She felt like a princess as she walked down the aisle of the church. The wedding was beautiful, and everyone thought that Valery and Raúl were perfect for each other. The wedding lasted for several hours. When Valery and Raúl left the church, they were exhausted and happy. They got into a limo that took them home to celebrate their wedding. The wedding was wonderful and memorable, and everyone loved Valery and Raúl. Valery loved Raúl. She loved his family, and they loved her too. She had everything she wanted. English learners, what did you think of this story? What did you like, and what did you want to be different? How would you continue this story? Add your insights in the comments section below.